Hey YouTube, this is Bill. This is a video that's been requested by some viewers. I've reviewed both of these speakers individually, so if you want more details, go back and view those other videos. Anyway, these speakers are a matching pair in many ways, and then in many ways they're opposites. So let's get into it. First of all, they're both AC only. These are not battery powered speakers, but I must say they are very easily powered by an external battery if that's what you're looking for. And I'll put a link down below for the external battery that I do use that powers either one of these easily, 300 watts for about less than $200. So that's the first step. These are not battery powered speakers like your Bose S1 Pro or your JBL Compact. So similarities, a lot of them. They're both the exact same price right now, $500 each. They both have a 7-year warranty. QSC was famous for their extended warranty, and now JBL is matching that. So that is really good. Power. That's the difference. That's going to be your number one difference. Even though when you look at the specs are going to both say they both do about 125 dB. That's not really what I find in my own testing. So that's going to be a difference. I'll get into that more in a little while. The main difference is one is a newer speaker, which is the JBL EON710 on the right. It has all the new bells and whistles. And the QSC CP8 it's been out for a number of years, and it's more traditional. Some people say QSC doesn't want those extras. It's more of a pro speaker. Pros don't use Bluetooth. JBL has Bluetooth, and it has a good Bluetooth too. It has Bluetooth 5.0, and I've tested it outdoors. You can walk, 30, 40 feet and no dropouts. So that's a huge difference right there. The other difference, major difference is the JBL is all menu driven, where the QSC is all old school dials. And some people prefer that. It's a lot easier on the fly, especially in live performance, to just add a little volume, add a little treble or bass. You can't really do that with the JBL. You have to go menu diving. JBL has an excellent app. QSC has no app. I really like an app controlled speaker because from a distance, you can control the volume, you can control EQ. So I personally prefer it. Again, a lot of giggy musicians say they don't use anything like that. It's just one more thing that's not necessary, one more thing that could go wrong. That they use mixers mainly. So the JBL has a mixer built in, which you can use, like I said, from a distance. Personally, I use it from the audience perspective. I can go back where the audience is, 30, 40 feet, and from that position, I could raise the gain, adjust the EQ. Talk about the EQ on the JBL is excellent. 8-band EQ. You can really dial it in to your liking, where going back to the QSC, there is basically no EQ. All it is, and I'll show you in a little while on the back, all it is basically with sub or without sub, but there is not even any bass and treble controls. Both speakers do not have reverb, so that might be a deal killer for someone who, vocalist, guitarist. Then you have to bring a mixer. So keep that in mind. Neither speaker has reverb. So these are more of beginning DJ speakers. And they both sound great. If you've seen some of my past videos, the Bose S1 Pro was always my gold standard as far as sound quality. I always considered that speaker very hi-fi sounding. And then I did a test with the QSC, A-beat it, and the QSC and the Bose S1 Pro sounded almost exactly the same at low volumes. So the QSC is very impressive. It's a good sounding speaker. On the other hand, the JBL is just as high performing, just as good sounding, and it has that EQ that the QSC does not have. So you can really change the JBL to any way you like it. I mean, you like more high end, you can boost it. You want more, a little bit more low end, you can do that too. You can pull the high end down. Both speakers produce exactly the same amount of bass. The JBL has a 10-inch woofer. The QSC CP8, like its name states, is an 8-inch speaker. But surprisingly enough, you're not going to get much more bass from the JBL. As a matter of fact, you're going to get pretty much zero more bass. They both, in my opinion, desperately need a subwoofer. When you add a subwoofer to either one of these speakers, it's really a full range sound, and I'll put either one of these speakers over a subwoofer, and I'll put them up against the new column arrays, the EV30, the JBL EON Mark II. So it really makes a really nice system. But that's pretty much wraps it up. I mean, obviously there's a huge size difference. The JBL is quite a bit larger. So as far as getting into and fitting into a small car, that could be an issue. Weight, the QSC is 21 pounds, JBL is 26 pounds. So it's not huge, but it is a difference. Definitely when I'm in a hurry, I'm gonna take the QSC over the JBL. It's just that much, QSC is that much handier, smaller, easier to throw around. So, but I don't think that should be a huge buying decision. They're both very similar. Okay, so one of the main differences that I think could be a buying decision, and that is max volume. When you look at the specs, the specs are going to say, I believe the QSC says 124 dB max, and the JBL says 125 dB. So I've done some testing, and I'm not going to do sound testing today. You're just going to have to take my word for it, or you can buy them yourself and AB them yourself. Anyway, so in my sound testing, what I did is I took the same track, I used a dB meter, and I brought them both down to about 85 dB. So I made sure they were both sounding the same. And then I did a max, and that's how I was able to tell you that they both sound very similar. Really nice high end on both speakers. Mids, not so great. These are more a nice clean PA type of speaker. If you're looking for mids, you want to go with Yamaha Bose. And like I said, both speakers are lacking in bass. So they both have a very similar sound signature. So the differences I'm getting back to is in max dB. So what I do is I take the same track and I bring it up until clipping. As soon as I see a clipping red light, that's what I'm going to give you my figure. Now, even though JBL will say, you can continue past the red light, I just figure it's an even playing field. As soon as I see any sign of clipping, that's the figure I'm going to give you. So JBL, I was able to get 102 dB before clipping. And on the QSC, again with the same exact track, I was able to get 110 dB. So if you, I've done some research, and anything 6 dB or greater, 6 to 10 dB, is equal to doubling the sound volume, especially perceived volume. It sounds twice as loud. So we have 8 dB difference, 108 minus 102. Sorry, I stand corrected. I believe I just said 108. No, on the QSC, it's 110 dB, and the JBL, it's 102. So you have 8 dB difference, and like I mentioned, anything over 6 dB, your ear perceives twice the volume. I believe when you get to 10 dB difference, which this is almost 10 dB, it's 8 dB difference, then it is actually doubling of the volume. So you would, to make a long story short, you would need 2 JBL 710s to equal the volume of that little QSC. So to me, that's incredible performance. The QSC is a real powerhouse if you need max volume. So keep that in mind. If you need the loudest DJ speaker between these two, I'm going with the QSC, no questions about it. So here is the rear view. As you can tell right away, the JBL has a screen where you get your menus. The QSC has your traditional old school dials. And of course, everything that goes on that JBL screen is on your Bluetooth app from your phone or tablet, that's the new way to go, right? I enjoy it, but some people don't. Some people, they prefer the old school dials. So let's talk about those dials. So here on the QSC CP8, you have your gain control on the dial. And like I mentioned, you can do that real quick on the fly. And I like the fact that you can see exactly where you're at. You're at 1 o'clock, you're at 12:30, and you can repeat those settings for different venues. It has 0 EQ. The only type of EQ it has is a DSP type, where it has, so if I have my speaker right now on default, or I could set it with a subwoofer. So it has different settings, for example, dance, EQ with a sub, and then it has a setting for floor monitor and speech. So basically no EQ. What the sound you get is pretty much it. It does have a 1/8 inch jack for a quick setting, plugging in a phone on the fly, which I like. The JBL doesn't have the 1/8 inch input, and it's a 2-channel mixer. It has a mix out. I run my sub from there, and that's pretty much it. It has your traditional power switch, rocker switch, and the JBL in comparison has a electronic soft touch. You press it and you have to wait a second or two. So again, that's a difference. QSC is old style and I prefer it. You press it and it's on instantaneously. JBL, you have to press it and it takes a second, and to turn it off, it takes, I think, a press of maybe 2 seconds. So again, if you're in a rush, you might not like that. So that's it. Here's the back of the JBL 2-channel mixer. We don't have that 1/8 inch phone jack, so that's missing. We have a pass-through, XLR pass-through, and that's where you can run a sub or another powered speaker. I want to stress though, what I really like about this speaker that the QSC doesn't have. On that pass-through, from the app, you can control the volume of that pass-through speaker. And again, I've shown this in the previous video if you want to go back and see that. So that's really nice. So basically, I don't need a mixer. I can run this speaker with a subwoofer and I can control the two separately. So I can bring that subwoofer, again, from a distance of 30 feet where the audience is sitting. I could bring up my subwoofer if I feel there's not enough bass, or I can lower the bass if I feel a certain tune is overpowering with bass. Of course, I can adjust the gain from that distance. So to me, this is something I don't really want to buy another speaker without. To me, this is high tech, and I really make good use of it. But not everybody thinks that's important. So that's about it. Very, very similar. Basically, you have your old school technology, and then you have your JBL with Bluetooth and all the bells and whistles. I do want to mention one more thing about the new Bluetooth speakers, and that it does have the ability for firmware updates. And I believe, I just read online, the JBL website, that this particular speaker, the 710, they are doing a firmware update in the next couple of months where you're going to be able to link 2 710s wirelessly. Right now you can't do it, but they're going to be able to do it. I guess they call it TSW or whatever. And again, that's something that you cannot do with the QSC. You would have to run your 2 speakers throughout with hardwired. So that's it. Those are your main differences. Here we have both speakers in the monitor position. QSC CP8 is a pretty popular speaker for live band monitoring. JBL, that a little bit bigger. You can see the huge difference in size, but again, the weight difference is only about 5 pounds different. Maybe some people might like the larger look of the JBL. So let's sum it up. In my opinion, these two speakers are kind of like twins. In my use, they both serve the same purpose. They're both AC power only. They both sound great. They have a really nice, clean PA style high end, which is great for vocals. They both need a subwoofer, and I want to emphasize need. You might think the JBL, which is a larger 10-inch, would have a better low end. It doesn't. It needs a subwoofer. They both have a very similar sound signature. They both sound really nice and clean. The difference is obviously size. JBL is that much bigger. Slight difference in weight, about 5 pounds. The price is the exact same, 500 pounds. This is a very competitive field right now, the $500 budget DJ speaker. I want to also give a heads up to the Yamaha BDR10. I did a video on that, same price range. And the Turbo Sound IP300, again, I did a video on that. So all of these speakers are right there, very similar speakers, all AC, nothing with battery built in. If you go with a battery speaker like the Bose S1 Pro, these speakers are many levels above the S1 Pro type of speaker. You're paying a lot of money for internal battery. If you don't need it, don't do it. These speakers really make the S1 Pro kind of seem like a toy. These are the real thing. The JBL, you might be familiar with the 610. That was the model that this speaker has replaced. That didn't have the Bluetooth and all the app controls that this speaker has. So that's it. If you like the bells and whistles of Bluetooth, I do. You might go with the JBL. Don't ask me which is a better speaker. It really comes down to what you need. Really, if you need that extra volume, you're gonna go with the QSC CP8. It's that much louder. As I mentioned, twice as loud. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. These are both outstanding speakers. They both have gone up in price, and I can't guarantee they're not going to continue to go up in price with this situation. I got both of them for $399. They're now at $500, and hopefully the price increase has stopped, but I don't know. If you need this type of speaker, you might want to move on it. They're both excellent, and you're kind of lucky if you're just entering the market, because either one of these speakers is excellent. Okay. Please ask any questions down below. I'll answer them as best as I can. And either way you go, you're going to have a great speaker. Very impressed by either one. QSC CP8 used to be my budget champion, but when the JBL came out, I can't really say which is better, but I love that phone app. They're both excellent. Okay, this is Bill signing out.